And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everybody, Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to be looking at a civilization game that combines civilization with dexterity, and that is Ascending Empires. This is a game for 2 to 4 players by Z-Man Games. Suggested playtime is about 75 minutes, and it's really a lot of fun. So, now that we've covered all of the basics, let's take a look inside the box at how the game plays and what I think of the game. So here you see a starting planet for one of the 4 players of the game. And each of the 4 players, if you're playing a 4-player game, will start in one of these corners, and the setup varies for fewer players, but you see the starting planet for the green player. And they're going to start with 2 spaceships, so that's these little discs here. And the whole point of this game is to be exploring a vast area of space. And that's going to be represented by the rest of the board. And you'll see here, we have all of this board area, and there's these discs face down. And these are going to represent different planets that can be explored and colonized by your players. And in order to do so, you're going to be doing some flicking of discs, moving things around, adding colonies, upgrading your technology, and doing all sorts of different things. So on your turn, you have several different choices of what to do. The first thing you may do is you may recruit troops, and that's going to be these little green pieces. So if you see them here, they're little green guys. They're all the same for all of the players. They're nothing special, but they get the job done. And recruiting troops simply means that if I were to have population of this planet, I can put, at the start of the game, up to 2 troops on a planet. Now troops, you can only have 3 items on any planet at a time, so that takes up 2 of your spots on the planet. But you're going to be using these troops to do all sorts of different things. Planets that you have troops on are going to be able to be developed into colonies. And colonies are represented by some very, very tiny little circles. And these are going to add defense to your planet. In order to build a colony, you're going to need to remove one of your troops from that area, and you're going to add that disc. And that's going to add a defense to your area. Troops also provide defense, but there's a reason for having colonies, and that's because they score victory points. Additionally, colonies can be upgraded to cities, and that's represented by these nice tall cylinders. And in order to get a city, you need to remove 1 troop and 1 colony, and you build a city. And that city's worth 2 defense. And so this is how you're going to get upgraded into cities. You'll get more troops for building more cities, you'll get more ships for building more cities, and so forth and so on. However, in order to do that, you first need to get to a city, and that's what these ships are for that I showed you earlier. You see these little green ships, they're nice discs, wooden with stickers on one side and nothing on the other. And in order to get there, on your turn you have an option of moving. Moving entails several things. So one thing you could do with moving is that you may turn a guy or a troop on a planet into a ship in outer space, and that's 1 movement. And starting out, you get 2 movement on your turns if you decide to take a move action. Another thing you can do with this is, let's say I own this planet, or I'm populated on this planet, and I have that guy and I turned this guy into a ship, is that you can flick in order to move around the board. And you'll see that that got stopped by the edge of the board, and that's one of my complaints about this, is the board's not perfectly flat, so flicking doesn't always work well. But as you can see, I can flick that. And if you land in the orbit of any of these planets, represented by these purple rings around the planets, at the end of your turn you may explore what color this planet is. So I flip this over and I can see it's a brown planet. And this will be important for developing technologies, which I'll go into momentarily. After you've gotten into the orbit, and say you checked this planet on a previous turn, so we know it's brown, you may land one of your troops on that planet by simply using a movement point to land this ship. So let's say I wanted to land on this planet, I know it's brown, I'd flip it over, my ship would turn into a guy, and my ship would go back to my stock. On future turns, I could, add more troops to that planet, so let's say I did this, and then on my next turn, maybe I wanted to build a research facility so that I could upgrade my technology. And research facilities are represented by these little green cubes. And so in order to build one of these, I would destroy 2 of my troops, they would go back to my supply, and I would place a research facility on this planet, and that gives me 1 brown research facility, which will be useful for upgrading my technology. Research facilities provide no defense, so it's not good for keeping that planet for myself, but it will allow me to upgrade my technology, which may be beneficial in winning the game and in getting victory points. A third option on your turn is to develop your technology, and as I said, I'll go into that momentarily, And then you can also do things like attacking other spaceships, ramming spaceships, and several different space-related things. So during movement, if I run into another spaceship, both of these spaceships get destroyed. That's called ramming a spaceship. Attacking spaceships actually requires a 2-to-1 ratio of your spaceships to an opponent's, and you have to be within a specific range. So if I had flicked these to get them close, we have this rangefinder here. And at the most part, you're going to need to attack at short range, which is going to be along this edge of the rangefinder, but upgrading your technology can make it at long range. So I would check to see if I'm in short range of this ship with both of my ships, and I am, and this ship would get destroyed and provide me a victory point. Planets may be captured by having enough ships in that planet's orbit to destroy all of the structures on the planet. So in this case, troops provide 1 defense, and research facilities provide no defense. So this planet has a defense of 1. As there are 2 ships in the orbit, the attack, which is 1-2, outnumbers the defense of the planet, and all of the structures on this planet would be destroyed. So green would lose their troop and their research facility, and blue would later have the chance of landing on this planet. And they would just simply, on a future turn, use a move action to land here, place one of their troops, and now they've taken over that planet. Now that we've looked at everything that can be done in space, why don't we take a look at how developing technologies works, how that contributes to the game, and how you can get points from it. So this is one of the player boards. This is the green player board, and it actually has quite a bit of information on it. First off, on the left-hand side here, you can see all of the options you have on your turn, and it's going to tell you exactly how this is laid out. And on each of your turns, you can perform 1 action. So we went over all of these: recruiting troops, movement. I actually didn't go over mining, but mining is simply removing troops from your planet in order to get victory points. Victory points are represented by these little tokens, and this is actually how we determine how the game ends and who wins. You can build a research facility by removing 2 troops. You can build a colony by removing 1 troop, and a city by removing a troop and a colony. You can also develop technology, and that's what this board really represents, is how you're going to build your technology. And you'll see here that each technology, there's 4 of them, and these are also represented by the colors of the planets. So you have orange planets, and you have brown planets, there are gray planets, and there are pink planets. And so you can see orange, gray, pink, and brown in the 4 technologies. So each of these starts at a basic level, and they're basically going to give you just the status quo for the beginning of the game. So you can only attack at short range, you get 2 movement points, your facilities provide whatever defense, so your colonies provide 1, cities 2, troops 1, and research facilities none. And that you may recruit 2 troops per turn if you're going to bring troops onto the board. But as you settle planets, so let's say I were to settle an orange planet and build a research facility on there, I would now have 1 orange research facility. And that would allow me on one of my turns to take the develop technology action in orange. And in order to develop a technology, you need at least as many research facilities as the lowest level. So for example, I would need 1 research facility on an orange planet to develop the first level of orange. And if I did so, I would move this up. If that was the first person to move to that spot, I would get 1 victory point. So I'd take one of these tokens. That's 1 point at the end of the game. And I would now have this new ability. So all of my attacking starships now attack at long range. So if we look at the rangefinder, instead of attacking along this edge, I only have to be this close in order to do damage to other ships or to destroy other ships, which will also earn me victory points. The second one is going to control mostly movement, so the further you go up, the more movement you get, or you get additional benefits to movement. The third, or pink one, is going to increase defense of your facilities, or going to give you bonuses in VP for destroying other people's ships. And the 4th column in brown is going to allow you to recruit more troops, to get more troops when building a city, or to recruit troops on unoccupied planets, which is actually a huge benefit. You don't want to allow a player to do that. Now, for each level you go up, if you're the first person to you'll get more victory points. So if, this player was the first to the first level, they'd get 1. And then if they got 2 research facilities on brown planets, they could go to the second level, and they'd get 2. And then so forth and so on. 3rd level, they'd need 3 research facilities on brown planets, 3, and then the 4th level, 4. There's also bonuses for getting all of your research technologies to level 1 and level 2. So if you get all of these here, you look at the left-hand side, you're going to get an additional troop and an additional ship. Same thing for the next level, level 2s. Levels 3 and 4 do not have these benefits, but the benefits alone from getting those technologies are pretty high. One more important thing is that when you upgrade your orange technology to level 3 by having 3 different research facilities on orange planets, you are able to turn 2 of your starships in order to get a battleship. And a battleship simply counts as 2 ships in space. It can be destroyed just like a normal ship, but it's a lot bigger piece, it's a lot easier to get into range, and like I said, it counts for 2 ships. As you can see also on this board, there are supply areas for holding your troops. You're going to start the game with 6 troops, and you can get more troops either by upgrading your technologies, getting all of them at levels 1 and 2, or by building cities, which will allow you to recruit or to add 1 troop or 1 starship to your supply. So once you build a city, you can choose, hey, I'm going to add a starship, and now I have another one that I can put on the board by destroying a troop from one of my planets. Finally, these sheets are going to show you the victory points that you'll get at the end of the game, and the victory points that you get during the game for doing certain things. So for each starship that you destroy, you're going to get 1 VP as long as you actually blew it out of space instead of ramming into it. For each planet you attack, you're going to get 1 VP per item you remove from that planet. And the first to develop certain levels gets planets equal to the technology level that they developed. At the end of the game, you're going to get 1 VP per occupied planet or asteroid. Asteroids are special planets that are only used in the 2 and 3 player game on which research facilities may not be built. You're going to get 1 point per colony you have, 2 points per city, and then for having cities in different quadrants of the board, you're going to get bonus victory points. So if you're in 3 different quadrants, you get 3 VP, and if you're in 4 different quadrants, you get 4 VP. The game ends when a predetermined amount of victory points are gone from the game, so once people have taken all of the victory points, in a 4-player game it's 40, the game will end and whoever has the most victory points will win. So that's Ascending Empires, and I gotta be honest, I saw this game, I saw the concept, and I knew before I'd even opened the box that I was probably going to love it. And it lived up to everything that I expected. So it's got a dexterity aspect, which I'm a huge Crokinole fan, so that's a great start on its own. The technology track is something like Sid Meier's Civilization, or even kind of an aspect from Goa for getting bonus points for going up evenly. And then on top of that, you're colonizing things, which is very much like Civilization. So it combines 3 things that I really like into one game. And the playtime is such that it's not excessive, it's fun, there's really no downtime because turns are so fast, and generally everybody's having a good time laughing over the flicking and trying to figure out how best to get victory points. Check out Ascending Empires, great game, and I think that you'll like it.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.